Hey friends, it's Buffaque again. As I was scrolling through my channel earlier this evening, just looking at some videos I'd posted earlier, I noticed that I haven't actually done a video yet on my Benchmade Griptilian, and I could have swore I had. Um, I'm a little bit surprised that somehow it got past me. This is one of probably the most commonly reviewed pocket knives on YouTube. A lot of you guys have this knife, and if you don't, you really owe it to yourself to do some research and get your hands on one and see what you think. This is an outstanding blade from Benchmade. The main reason I've decided to do a video on it is the story that I have behind it. Kind of an interesting one. This is not a knife that I just went and bought at a sporting goods store just because I felt like it. But the story behind why I purchased it, I think, is a little bit interesting. I thought you guys might find it interesting as well. Before I get into it, if you're interested and if you don't already know, here are a few specs on this knife for you. Of course, this is 154 cm steel on the Griptilian. Let's see here. Yeah, there we are. 154 cm. Benchmade knives, guys, come wickedly sharp. They hold a great edge. They really don't take, in my experience, they don't take a whole lot of upkeep. Just outstanding pocket knives. Quick deployment, real smooth. Of course, they have the axis lock, which is an incredible design. If I had any complaints about this blade, it would, and I'm sorry, it's not even really about the blade, but the knife itself might be a little bit wide, maybe a little bit chunky. For some folks, I don't mind it, obviously. I liked it so much I purchased one, but some people might find this a little thick compared to some other knives that are out there. In the grand scheme of things, really, it's still not very bad. Things like blade centering, pretty darn good on this knife. I really don't have too many really don't have any negative things to say about it at all. It's drop point style blade with reversible tip up carry options. Okay, you can't do it tip down, but you do have your choice of left or right for tip up carry. Of course, comes with the pre-drilled lanyard hole there. And I like the pocket clip. On a lot of my knives, as some of you guys have figured out, I remove the pocket clip because, well, for one thing, I work at a place where I just prefer not to advertise that I'm carrying a pocket knife. But this one, it's this flat black finish, this matte finish. It's not real shiny or doesn't really stick out much. Pretty discreet, so I kind of like this one. I decided to leave this one on. The deployment on this blade is just really, really snappy. If you've never handled one of these, it really doesn't take long to figure out how quickly you can pop this open or close it back. I know a lot of you guys are like me. You probably sit around at home, sitting on the couch, watching a movie, whatever, and your wife or girlfriend or whoever gets sick of you flipping your pocket knife open and closed, but it's fun. It's a great knife. It really is. The story behind this, guys, is shortly before I finished my bachelor's degree, my grandfather told me that as soon as I graduated, he wanted to give me one of his knives. And my grandfather, if you didn't already know this, go back and watch some of my earliest videos. My grandfather's kind of the one who got me into pocket knives as well as firearms years ago. And so he told me that he wanted to give me a pocket knife when I graduated with my bachelor's degree. And he said, I have a couple of knives. I want you to pick which one you want. And what it was he had a Benchmade Griptilian in the orange finish, and he also had a couple of Spyderco Endura 4s. essentially, I ended up deciding on the Endura 4, the one you see here. FFG, great blade, from Seki City, VG10 steel. Just a great blade. Got a lot of use on this blade. Probably more use on this knife than anything else in my collection. Love this knife. This was the one I ended up picking, and he gave me this. My grandfather purchased this a few years ago, and then he had kept it in almost pristine condition, and when I graduated college, he wanted me to have that. But he gave me my choice between the two, and I ended up choosing the Spyderco. Basically, it came down to me to width. Okay, and I'm trying to... Here we are. It came down to width. This may not look significant to you, but to me, in the palm of your hand, okay, I feel a big difference between this Endura 4 and this Griptilian. Okay, not that the Griptilian doesn't have a great feel, because it does. It's got a very nice feel, but I like the slimness of the Endura. I like the slimness, you know, the volcano grips. This just, you know, your gut pretty much tells you what you want to know as soon as you pick one up, and that's basically what it was. I really like the feel of this Endura, just a little bit more so than the Griptilian. And at the time, I didn't know much about blade steel, you know, VG10 versus 154 cm, you know, all the different options you have in terms of, you know, where you can put your clip, your pocket clip, you know, all those things. I wasn't really considering much of that. I was just purely, I was really new to knives, and I was basically just going off of feel, and I thought I like the slimness of the Spyderco, and I really, really like the Spidey hole. Okay, as far as deployment, I really like that a lot. Nothing against the thumb stud on the Griptilian, because it's I mean, it's really efficient as well, but ended up choosing the Endura 4 over the Griptilian, just basically based off of ergonomics. Okay, so, you know, once I got more into pocket knives, this was the knife that basically started it all for me, that got me interested and got me going. So once I started getting into pocket knives, it did not take me long. It was a matter of maybe months before I ended up going out and buying my own Benchmade Griptilian. So anyway, just kind of an interesting video. Like I said, I was kind of surprised I hadn't already done a video on this knife. But there you have it. Let me know in the comments section what you think about this. I'm really interested in hearing, you know, I know we all have our own stories behind how we've come to own different knives and different firearms and things like that. Post yours below. I'm always interested in hearing, you know, how we all come by different things like that. And let me know what you think, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.